Yo guys, it's Hadan McCann here, back with another video. I know it's been a while since I've actually uploaded to YouTube, and today I'm going to be talking about if you should be eating more calories or less calories. And this is really going to be dependent on your goals and your position where you're at right now and how many calories you usually consume on a daily basis. So first of all, I'm no nutritionist. I'm not excellent myself, but this is basically my knowledge based off of 6 or 7 years, probably almost, actually I'll correct myself there, it's almost 8 years since I've been started the gym and training properly, trying to build muscle. So firstly, start off where you're at right now. Figure out where you want to be in short term. Usually thinking maybe a couple of months, maybe 3 months ahead of time, where you want to be in 3 months, what you want to look like, whether it's what you want to look like, whether it's how much weight you want to lift in a few months time. And your diet's really going to be, your diet is the main thing which is the main factor which is going to dictate whether you reach those goals or not. Diet's very important, but you need to have other things to go along with it. You need to be thinking about sleep. If you're lacking sleep, sleep is super important for building muscle, losing body fat, as well as your mentality. But especially if you're lacking sleep, you're not going to build a lot of muscle, and you're also going to struggle to burn fat too. Your body is kind of smarter than you think, and this one I'm going to mention in the video as well. You need to look at where you're at right now. You need to look in the mirror, and usually you can sort of tell how high your percentage body fat is. If you don't know, you can do skin fold tests and things like that. But if you're about 20% body fat, then you should be looking to be in a calorie deficit, eat less calories. But if you're around maybe 14% body fat, then you should be sort of looking to maintain that's pretty healthy level percentage body fat. Especially if you're 8% body fat, you need to be thinking about bulking and starting to put on a bit of size. So firstly, let's think about if you're above 20% body fat and you're trying to lean down, take away that body fat, and you're going to be in a calorie deficit doing that, okay? And then once you get to maybe 12%, 15%, then you can start trying to think about staying lean and building muscle. So sort of cutting a bit of fat and building muscle at the same time, okay? So firstly, there's a lot of fitness apps and things out there which can help you get an idea of how many calories you should be consuming, how many proteins, carbs, fats, okay? Now some of those can be useful as a tool, as a guide, but everyone's different, and you have to know your body. That's super important, is to know your own body. And remember that no one knows your body better than you. So you should always focus on what you know and what you believe. If you believe that fish is going to be the best source of protein for you, then you should eat fish. If you think it's going to be chicken, then eat chicken. If it's beef, then eat beef. Whatever works for you. Everyone's different. So you need to be eating enough protein, because you need to be trying to. Thing is, when you're on a calorie deficit, your body first goes to the muscle. So it's trying to eat away at the muscle first. But this is usually what happens if you're a little bit lower body fat percentage, but we're actually talking above 20%. So here it's going to be quite easy for you to lose a lot of body fat. You start dropping the calories not too quickly. If you're eating, if you're above 20% body fat, as we're talking right now, and you're eating 4,000 calories a day, you need to slowly cut that down. You don't want to drop from 4,000 calories all the way down to 2,000 calories the next day. It's going to be too much of a shock for your body. I don't think that's a healthy way to approach it. So you need to sort of gradually diet down, over the course of a week, and then maybe reach 3,500 calories, and then the next week you can drop it down more. Okay, just to be on the safe side, because you don't want to shock your body too much. Okay, can be pretty unhealthy if you do that, and I know that from experience. So you need to make sure you're eating good protein, especially when you're trying to lose fat, especially if you're around, let's talk about 15% body fat now. If you're around 15% body fat, you're trying to cut down, you need to be eating a lot of protein. Okay, good fats are super important, good carbs, but you're going to be eating a lot of protein to maintain the muscle, so your body doesn't eat away at the muscle because of the lack of calories you're giving it. Okay, if you're not giving it enough calories, it needs to get fed from something. If you've got a lot of muscle that your body doesn't need, remember, we don't need a lot of muscle, so your body knows that you got too much muscle. It doesn't need it. So if you're not maintaining the muscle, it's just going to eat away at the muscle if you're not giving it enough calories. This is why you need a lot of protein, maintain the muscle. So even if you're in a deficit, so you're trying to lose fat at this point, even if you're around 20% body fat, you should still be eating around 4 meals a day. Space them out. Okay, keep your metabolism going, keep that food intake going. Okay, to keep your metabolism going, keep your body fed, give it something to use for energy and things like that. Okay, and nutrition sources, because your body needs it. And a lot of people, what they do is, I've met a lot of people who have coffee for breakfast and that's it, and then they eat later in the day one meal, and they think that this is going to help them lose body fat and all this. I think everyone's heard about this stuff, and that stuff just doesn't work. And when you try to tell these people that you need to eat a bit more instead of less, they're like, what? It doesn't make any sense to them. But the thing is that your body's smarter than you. So you think that if you eat less and you eat one meal a day, then that's going to be good to lose body fat, and then you're going to cut down because you're just you're not eating. That's what makes sense to some people. But what actually happens is your body hangs on to the body fat. So processed chicken you ate, all of the grease in the burgers and these things that they throw in, processed food you're eating, any bad junk food you're eating, is going to be stored as body fat. So your body's going to store that and hang on to it because you're not giving it enough. So it's going to hang on to body fat more. That's why you need to space your meals out and eat consistently throughout the day. And look this up. It keeps your metabolism going. If you eat consistently, your metabolism is important for losing body fat, and it's important for staying healthy, right? And maintaining and growing, building muscle. This is why some bodybuilders eat 2 to 3 hours apart, in their meals. Eat every 2 to 3 hours. And that's something I did for quite a while, get some great results. But I suppose the main thing is to be smart with what you eat and when you eat it. So now let's talk about 12% body fat. There's people with 12% body fat, and there should be, around 12% body fat, 10% is pretty damn healthy body fat percentage to be at, for most people. So, there you should be around about maintaining, unless you're trying to cut for a competition or cut for a photo shoot. You should be, staying around that body fat percentage, and this means that you should be at the maintenance calories. So again, you can help try to figure out what your maintenance calories are, based on your job, how much physical exercise you're doing every day, things like that, and that's going to help you dictate it. But mainly, you need to be focusing on high protein and decent carbs. So if you throw a little bit of junk in there, I do it. We're just human. So it's all right to eat a little bit of chocolate or whatever. Have some cookies every once in a while. Have a dessert at the restaurant while you're there. These things are fine. But so just make sure you stick to your proteins, good carbs, good fats, and try not to throw in too much processed junk. So secondly, if you're trying so thirdly, if you're trying to cut, so now let's talk about people who are at, who are trying to get, around stage ready, photo shoot, things like that. Okay. So, you can't have your calories too low, if you're below, I'd say around 1500 calories, if you're eating anywhere less than that, then you're going to have some issues. I actually think that's pretty unhealthy, and I have sort of experienced that myself, eating not enough before competition, when I last competed, which was a few years ago now. But I just didn't eat enough, and my body was hanging on to a lot of water. Had a lot of problems holding water, and really clinging on to that last little bit of body fat. And it's always the last little bit of body fat's the hardest to lose. So anyone who's competed knows it's super hard to lose that extra little bit of body fat to be on stage and compete with these guys at the higher level. So you'll be surprised that when you eat more and you keep the calories coming in, but you're eating good food, maybe throw a bit of beef in there. It has a little bit more fat in it, but it's going to help fill you and fill in those gaps that you're missing in your nutrition. Okay, because what happens when you don't eat enough is you become fatigued, you become flat, and you tend to lose quite a lot of muscle. So you sort of you're lean, but you're hanging on to a bit of body fat, and your body's just losing muscle, getting flatter, getting smaller, and you're just feeling completely depleted, not eating enough. So this is why it's super important to keep calories, at a decent, I to be honest, on a cut, I wouldn't really go much lower than 1900 calories. Okay, not much lower than that. Then you're just becoming, it's pretty unhealthy sport, bodybuilding anyway. When you're trying to get that low body fat, got to do what you got to do. But I don't recommend going any lower than 1900, from my personal experience. All in all, I think people should be eating a little bit more than they realize, consuming more calories than they actually realize. And this is going to help you lose body fat and build muscle, or cut down. You don't want to be not eating enough, sufficient amount of calories on a daily basis, along with good nutrition, high protein, and these things, to put it into perspective around there's different sites you can go on, like MyFitnessPal, I believe bodybuilding.com do sort of calorie counting and things like that. But these aren't, it's not exact. It's not exactly what you should be going off of. It should give you an idea, and then you should use the mirror or the scale to help determine what's going on. Not so much the scale, but more the mirror. Look yourself in the mirror and you can see the changes for yourself. So keep that in mind when you're deciding, if you should be cutting or if you should be, looking to put on weight. So, the kitchen is super important, but there's also the training. You've got to have a good training program. If you want to see these results, especially in the mirror, you've got to have a good training program. You've got to have a good split. At the gym, you've got to know what you're doing. So you got to have a good training split every day. You should be knowing sort of what you're doing, what exercises you think you're going to be doing that day. You should have an idea at least. And then your sleep. Sleep's super important. That's where you grow. That's where you recover. And then water intake is also super important. Okay, staying hydrated. The muscle is about 75% water, so got to keep it full. So yeah, guys, hope this helps give you a better idea of where you're at and where you should be heading. Try to keep your your goals short. Think about the short term more than the long term, especially with things like calorie intake. This is going to help you reach your goals a lot quicker. I've found if you're looking 2 or 3 months ahead, you're planning 2 or 3 months ahead of time instead of a year. It's quite hard to dictate where you're going to be at in a year's time, as you keep these goals short term, it's going to help you reach them a lot. You're going to be able to pay attention to the now a lot more, okay, and stick with it. That's the most important thing, is stay consistent. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.